my mash is complete. I turned my pump off so I can pull this out. And I can take my lid off. And then what I'm going to do is use this guy right here, this little tool right here. There's 2 holes in here you lash it into, and this picks up your it picks up the grain basket. So watch. You pick this up, and you twist this until it sits on top. Two little things here. You can kind of, it's kind of hard to maybe just see it on the video. I'm going to see it. It's hard to see the video, but you'll see when you actually do it. Actually, I'll bring it a little closer. So you see how it fits on there? So this now is going to be my sparge. Now there's a bunch of different videos of people making crazy sparge arms, whatnot, to sparge into here. I don't do that. I let it drain. You know, this actually takes a long time. But one of the tips that I saw was, if you actually take your tube like this and you put it in here and just recirculate. So now this is going to recirculate, and what you're going to do is this. You're going to change this to boil. All right? This is going to come up to a boiling temperature. But what happens is you got to obviously wash all the grains. So I'm going to take this piece off now. You don't need this anymore. And I'm going to add this guy back on. And the reason why is you can now fill up the water until it gets up to, you know, about right here, and continually sparge. So I have my little, my sparge water here. Going to rinse all this grain and go through. You can also, some people have, I've seen in the past, where they actually take the plate out and they you know, mix the grain again. You can do that as well. But what happens is this is actually a pretty lengthy process, because you can hear like it's draining very slowly. It's going to take some time to do that. Once that happens, then I'm going to go right to the boil. What's going to happen is I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to put the lid back on and let it go until it starts to boil. All right, so I wanted to show you this. I mentioned it earlier about taking this plate off like this, right? And then really mixing this up. Right here, like the water can't get in because of this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna like mix it up a little bit and then throw water in. The plate you don't really need anymore, because again, everything is gonna drain through the actual grain itself. But because it's so compact right now, loosening it up will help you, you know, get the sparge going a little bit faster. Mix it up once the water's in there. If you get a nice long mixer, you can get all the way down there to the bottom. So the sparge is definitely the worst part, and the most time consuming. Again, it's one of the reasons why they tell you to, you know, have the tube go into here and start to boil, because that way you're like kind of boiling while you're sparging, which is good. But yeah, so we're gonna let this go, and we're almost done. You can hear it. All right, so I'm pretty much done sparging. What I like to do is this. I like to take this out, making sure that tube doesn't come out. I like to put it in something like this. And then one of the reasons why is it can still drain, but at this point, you know, I mean, I could probably pick up a little bit more volume. I'm gonna check my my numbers and see if I'm really high. I can, you know, sparge a little bit more. But either way, I like to do this just because, you know, it lets it drain a little bit more, and I can pour that in later. But then I can get this boiling. All right, so we are boiling now. Yes, I had just a slight bit of a boil over. Nothing too bad. But we are boiling. You can see that this the batch is a little bit smaller, which is fine. I figured it might be. Doing bigger batches, high ABV, it's a little bit difficult on the Grainfather, but I could have always, you know, sparged a little bit more, but I'm just gonna just take what I got. All right, so here's another tip. What happens is it's a heating element on the bottom, and you get this like caramelization that builds up. So what they tell you to do is to scrape it off. I got this guy to help scrape off the bottom, but you want to make sure too, obviously, you don't knock off your filter. but I'm just scraping the bottom off. I'm getting any caramelization. So this thing usually comes with a counterflow chiller, but when I changed this out, it kind of didn't work, and the counterflow chiller was just kind of okay. So I just chill it using an immersion chiller. What happens is I turned off the boil, and then I will recirculate while it starts to chill. All right, so I'm chilled down. I'm actually going to take my chiller out, turn off the pump. I'm actually going to transfer this from here into this bucket. Yeah, not pretty, but coming through. It's coming through. The filter is the filter on it gets a little clogged sometimes. Like I could actually go in. I've done this with IPAs where I scrape off, you know, the stuff that's caked on there, and then more comes out. Even with the stout, because there's not a lot of hops in here, you can also just pop the filter off like that, which I've done before. Let's see. Yeah, slowly coming out. Alright, so I'm kind of glad this happened because I want to do some troubleshooting stuff. So it looks like I have a clog in here, so I'm going to show you. I'm trying to take this off and not lose too much beer. I know, it's a little ghetto, but it works. See? Got it flowing again. Another thing you do too is, I've had issues with the pump before where you, if you take off this quick disconnect and then turn it on and turn it off really fast, it will shoot some beer out, but it just like, it like purges the system. So that's really good for the pump as well. I've had to do that multiple times as well, especially with hoppy beers. So cleaning this thing. The good thing is it's pretty much self-cleaning. I start off with putting like 4 gallons of just regular hot water in it first and just run the pump, and then you'll see what it looks like after that. Alright, so this is my second round of a 4 gallons of hot water coming out of my sink. Again, I just let it run twice just to like run it through. Hoppier beers, I might try to scrape the sides. You can see a little bit of crust up there. I'll show you once you get the PBW going through, it's great. Alright, so earlier I talked about your heating element caramelizing stuff on if you don't scrape it while it boils. You can see obviously I didn't scrape it enough. That's kind of one of the issues. Like I said, just during the boil, just scrape it off every once in a while. I'd let this go a little bit longer than usual. It's probably why it's more black. Alright, so next step is going to be to put some PBW in. Obviously you can measure it out. I just do a little sprinkle. And then I put about 2 gallons of water in. And then set this thing to boil. Cover it up, just like you would for any other time when you're brewing. I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to recirculate this. I want this to get up like nice and hot and really cook off all that stuff on the bottom. Alright, so as it starts to get hotter, I do the same thing I talk about with, you know, when they're to boil. Stir off that bottom. And you can see even the water is starting to really get dark just from it boiling off with the PBW. So another thing I like to do is once this PBW is going through, it's nice and hot, I like to hit the edges with it. Like that. And then I've got a scrub brush I use, this thing. Just start getting in there and clean the sides. So you can see in the bottom, we got most of the stuff off. There's some like still right off. This is actually the perfect time to do it while it's like still hot. Yeah. So that's about it. I'm draining out the last, you know, amount. Get all the stuff off the bottom. Obviously, you can spray it down with a hose and whatnot. But that's it. One thing I didn't mention earlier is that my main power is going through to one outlet, and my pump's going to another one. You got to make sure you're not using a extension cord for the main outlet.